Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is The Lady. If it's your first time clicking on one of my videos, and welcome back return viewers as always. Yeah, I've been feeling so nostalgic lately, and I've been thinking about games that were more so marketed towards girls that came out for like the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy Color. It's just been really running through my mind. I watched this one YouTube video that talks about what happened to all of the good girl games, and it made me really think about like getting nostalgic and think about games that I used to play that used to be my favorite girly type of games. I wanted to talk about a few of my favorites that I used to play. It's like the games that were just like perfect, like girly vibe. Let's get started. We're going down memory lane. I want to start with like one of my favorite, I'm labeling this a girly game. It's a classic game. That is Miss Pac-Man. So Miss Pac-Man, I was obsessed with Miss Pac-Man as a kid because there's just so much lore I didn't know about. So my first introduction to Miss Pac-Man was going to the dentist's office, and they had like a mini arcade. You could play Miss Pac-Man on the arcade table. But like my true like introduction into like the store and the lore that is Miss Pac-Man is playing it on my Game Boy Color. It was so fun being able to play that on Game Boy Color because I put so much time into it. I was able to get to like the crazy high levels and then learn more about like the backstory of Miss Pac-Man. I just thought it was cool. It was like once you get past certain levels, it shows you how Miss Pac-Man met Pac-Man and how they ended up together and then having a kid. Like it was just such a random like extra storyline in Miss Pac-Man that I just really enjoyed, especially like how satisfying it was after you get through a maze level. It's so much fun to me that they had that little extra story into it. So I would label it a girly game because it's just the unintentional romantic side plot of Miss Pac-Man. I actually still have my copy of that Game Boy Color game. It's just so much fun. Going from like Game Boy Color, like another game that I really enjoyed, Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls had like a Game Boy Color edition for each Powerpuff Girl, and Powerpuff Girls, literally, I was obsessed with Powerpuff Girls as a kid. Like I needed Powerpuff Girls themed cakes and backpacks and lunch boxes. Like I love Powerpuff Girls so much. So I was so happy when I got that as one of my first games when I got a Game Boy Color. So in Powerpuff Girls, it was just very like straightforward. You go through these different levels of platforming. You get to like fly and fight these villains, and each girl had their own specific villain to the Game Boy Color game. So specifically, like if you had Blossom, I had Blossom and Buttercup. Blossom's main villain was Mojo Jojo, and then Buttercup's was the Gang Green Gang, and Bubbles was, I believe, Bubbles was him, which is just, him is also an icon. But I absolutely adore these games. There's also cheat codes you could find, which I remember finding cheat codes so you could like fly unlimited, be able to like be invincible and get like extra powers, like things like that. And I just really remember enjoying it so much and just like enjoying just like how cute and nice it was to play. So like going into my Game Boy Advance era of games, I have a few that I really just enjoyed playing so much. So first was Kim Possible, specifically Kim Possible 3. I loved the TV show. Again, I love the TV show Kim Possible. It was just the theme songs, iconic. Kim Possible, awesome. All the villains, so much fun. Being able to like play as Kim and Kim Possible and being able to do all her gymnastic flips and everything and like fighting the villains. And in this game you could also switch over between her and Ron, and it added some extra platforming elements where you had to like use Ron for certain types of things, and then you also would gain like more abilities to do your gymnastics and like do different moves. And I just find Kim Possible 3 especially was so much fun. I loved being able to like, it was like a little bit of platforming with it where you have to find hidden areas and things like that, get like these different orbs, and the music was just great. Like just thinking about it makes me so happy that I was able to play that as a kid because I just loved Kim Possible. And I love like when they had a lot of TV show licensed games. Like those were just, that was a time when those games were just like really well thought out, well planned out, and just like it wasn't just shovelware. I would say another game I really love was Bratz Rock Angels, and I know a lot of people have played it on PlayStation, which I also played that version, and it was so much fun. And I know there is this new Switch version of Bratz called Flaunt Your Style or Flaunt Your Fashion, and I was kind of disappointed in that one just because I feel like it wasn't is fun is like the originals, and not just because of like nostalgia lens, but just because I just felt like they didn't really care much about it. I feel like in the past games, in the Game Boy Advance game, for me it was just so much fun because you had all these different mini games. You were helping like the rest of the Bratz girls travel around and with their rock band and get these different fashion styles and get ready and get like the points so you can afford things. And I just found it to be just like really fun and really cute, that it was just like all these nice little mini games and these like being able to skateboard around to different levels. It was such a like cute thing. Like I just really loved Bratz Rock Angels. Another game that I really loved was Disney Princesses, and I don't know if anyone remembers this game, but it was just like a random like Game Boy Advance game where you were able to play is like what some of the core Disney princesses of that time. Like you get to play as Belle or Ariel, Cinderella. You basically are in their shoes and going along with the storyline. And it was mostly like platforming, but I just found it fun that they gave each princess their like own type of like weapon or thing they could use to get through different enemies in areas. Like Snow White, she could sing to call the dwarves to clear out like the rocky way in the caves, or if you were Belle, you could throw snowballs at the wolves and like jump around to like find like these different memories in chests around the areas. And it was just so much fun, and it was one of those games that you just sink so much time in. And the last game, and this game was like really embedded deep in my mind from like childhood, but the last game is not Disney, but the last game is Barbie Princess and the Pauper, and this was on Game Boy Advance. So I think this game was just so awesome because it gave you all these different like levels and systems to be able to switch between the two characters. So we got to switch between the princess and the pauper, and the pauper would sing to get like little obstacles and things down, which I just distinctly remember the singing of the pauper is just really magical and cute. And you'd use the princess who had a shield, and so like if you're going through obstacles that were like maybe falling mud or things like that, you use the shield to like cover yourself and let the one princess walk through, so you both could like get through obstacles and use your like both of your abilities to work together to get to the end of the levels. And they also had levels where you're able to play as like the cats in the Barbie Princess and the Pauper. I was just like thinking about like games back then that were marketed more so towards girls, just because recently there haven't been as much, but I feel like I guess it kind of morphed into like the cozy games aesthetic. But also there's like, I know Fashion Dreamer is coming out soon, and that game I feel like it's like one of those games that makes me think about the nostalgic games that came out during that time, like Fashion Dreamer, because Fashion Dreamer is by the same company as Style Savvy. I've been playing the Style Savvy Trendsetters on Nintendo 3DS. That is like another thing that made me really think about girl games, and just like I just love like Style Savvy in itself is just so much fun because it's just taking like things that I would have loved to do because I was really into fashion. I just love how much it surrounds itself about like the fashion world, and something that people consider frivolous from a girl's point of view, but I just think it puts so much importance on shopping, on being like owning a business, you know, working in retail and being one of like the buyers and helping customers and just like spreading bliss, spreading joy to the people that you're surrounded by through like your fashion prowess. And I just love that idea. And with Fashion Dreamer coming out, it makes me wonder if like the evolution of like girl games that were marketed to us is going to evolve into more after Fashion Dreamer, and that maybe we'll get more girl coded games or femme coded games in the future. Like I think the Pretty Princess games are another like recently games that I would say are girl coded, but I just think it's fun thinking about like being nostalgic about like how many games we used to have like in the past that were just like marketed towards girls, and it wasn't afraid of just like giving us something cute, something fun, and something that didn't take itself too seriously. And that's what I'm missing. That's what I feel like I'm missing now recently, and that's why I just kind of wanted to be more nostalgic about some of my favorite games from back in the day. Yeah, but what was your favorite like girl coded game from before? Like if you want to say down in the comments, or just even one of your favorite nostalgic games from yesteryear, let me know down in the comments. And I hope you got something out of this, my nostalgic take through the times. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. And I hope all of you guys are doing well as always, and have a wonderful day. Bye.